listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming of RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers to achieve even greater success. And on this radio show, I break it up into 3 sections, and I bring in 2 subject matter experts to give some actionable tips and ideas and a little bit of history and how they made it success to try to help our listeners see if it can help them achieve even some more success in life. David Corbin is a keynote speaker, business advisor, president of private and public corporations. He's an inventor, a mentor, and pretty good guy all around. Dave, you on the line?
I am.
Excellent. I was going to start talking about Nathans and dogs, but I think I'll wait till we get into the interview a little more.
Okay.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, I know you just interviewed my good friend, Frank Shank, and what an amazing story that is, a phenomenal story, who has created a brand and a mission which will go on forever.
Yeah, and he's helped, tens of thousands of people, and he's so humble. He talks about Chris. Well, Chris was the first person that they helped. But, the formation of the entire Make-A-Wish Foundation and everything that derived thereof really came because of Frank and his stickability.
Absolutely, and I'm glad he did mention stickability. He was... we were sitting on my front porch here at my office in San Diego just yesterday. Frank and Stephanie and myself, and we were doing a little bit of a session. As you know, I advise in the area of marketing and branding and business development and yada, yada. So we had a wonderful, wonderful session, and it's just an honor to be friends and to work closely with such wonderful people.
It really is. And you just spoke briefly about what you do, and you've worked with Fortune 20 companies such as AT&T, Hallmark, Sprint, just incredible. Can you tell the listeners, I know you, I've met you a few times, and I already know what you've done, but can you tell the listeners a little bit about your history?
Well, it's interesting. I started out as a psychotherapist many years ago, and I joke with my audiences that I dropped the therapist part. I'm just a psycho, because I so enjoy working with the entrepreneurs. After I was a psychotherapist, I got a job. Actually, I came out to California to go to medical school. I lived back east like you did. I was in New York. And I came out to go to medical school and realized at the last minute, you know what, that's just not my passion. I really don't want to climb the ladder to success there, only to realize that I leaned it against the wrong building. And that wasn't going to be my thing. And I'm grateful. It's like I told my children, follow your passion and then work your butt off. That really wasn't my passion, but I was willing to work my butt off. So I got a job in business, in sales, selling stereos, and very quickly realized, holy mackerel, if I apply psychology and human dynamics to sales, management, leadership, or whatever, I can do real well. And I did very well in sales. And then I did very well in management, and I took that company and 12x'd their revenue. And before long, I was a sort of a long-haired boy wonder in the area of marketing and sales. And so I parlayed that into consulting on, and then studied and developed. And I've been, for the last 37 and a half years, I've been advising businesses, large businesses and small, in tactics and strategies to make them more effective and more productive and to make a better environment for all within and without their company. So that's a little bit of background. I've gone on to write books, and you talked about certain people who on your show who I've mentored, and it's been an honor to do that, and that leads us to today.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've listened to you. I've learned from you, and I know it pales in comparison to the people who've actually, utilized your services. And you've been referred to as the Robin Williams with an MBA because you don't just educate people, but you also have a good time. There's an entertaining factor to it as well.
Yeah, Ron, I think people say, well, so what do you do and who are you and whatever, and people say, well, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer, or I am a speaker. No, I'm a man. I'm a human being. I'm an embodied spirit who is here to grow and to develop and to share and to learn and to love. And I play the role of mentor. I play the role of keynote speaker. I play the role of business advisor, and on and on. These are roles that we play. But I know this, as a human being, I'm here to enjoy and to live and love and laugh. And so if I can't do that, then I say, you know what, no, I'm not interested in speaking at your business. No, I'm not interested in mentoring you. No, I'm not interested in consulting. I want to work in an environment, now I'm going to use the L word, where there's love and respect of others and individuals. In fact, I've written a number of books. The book that I'm working on right now is really about love in the workplace, carrying on the brand extension from a book called Fish, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with that book, Ron. It's an amazing book on creating service, internal and external, creating mirth and joy and morale in the workplace. So we're taking it the next step, the authors of that book, myself and another, into the next thing in a book called Shine, bringing out the shine and luster of individuals in your employ and also your customers. It's a crazy idea. I think it's destined to be a New York Times bestseller.
It sounds good to me, but I got to ask you a question. Did you just say mirth?
Yeah. Mirth.
Now I know that you are a true author. You know what I mean? Because I know mirth and merriment, and but nobody just speaks like that in conversation. So that's a testament to your level of vocabulary. Because I know the words from reading it, and especially like when I read Lord of the Rings and those types, because they talk about mirth and merriment in their different events. But it's funny you just used that out of that whole sentence. I was like, did he just say mirth?
I really believe words are important. Words are really important. People don't realize how important they really are. Words are energy. They carry energy, and certain words can carry your attention away. So, for example, if you and I are talking about, the books that I've written or the concepts that I represent, the companies that I've consulted with or the people that I've mentored, and if I drop a word, like let's say, oh, yeah, and I'll use a word, the B word, which is technically it's illegal. You can say that word on radio. And I would say, yeah, I was talking to that bitch the other day, and I wasn't referring to a female dog. I would completely lose you. You would think, oh, my God, who is this guy really? And what is he? So I could keep talking, but you wouldn't be listening to me because I took you out on a different path, you see. And people don't realize the power of words. And so when I train keynote speakers, I do have them select their words carefully. You don't have to be paranoid, but you do want to take a concept, and if it's a real important concept. You mentioned a fellow who I've mentored for years, a guy named Greg Reed. And when Greg early on was creating his keynotes, we would look at expressions and body language and owning the particular real estate of the stage, but words, and certain words needed to be included and certain words needed to be excluded. And then certain words don't come out of someone's mouth easily. A wonderful speaker colleague of mine, Phil Wexler, he's got a lateral lisp. So there's certain words that he needed to pull out of his vocabulary. It's quite fascinating when you look at the detail. And so when I mentor people, I will always tell them, because they pay a lot of money, and I'll tell them, I don't know if I can help you. I just don't know. I never know. And anybody who says anything other than that is probably lying, right? Because I never really know. Now, I got a good track record, don't get me wrong. But you never technically know, right? And so no matter what they need, it could be choosing the right words in a speech, or it could be employee issues, or it could be relationships at home, or it could be understanding, algebraic configurations of the financial statement. No matter what it is, if I have it, I bring it. And one of the things is the importance and the power of choosing the right words.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, and also we can talk more about that in your books, but didn't your mother ask you, like, what it is you do when you went to TV?
I can't believe you know that. Yeah, it was so funny. She said, but she had a hard time telling her friends down in South Florida what her youngest son, David, did for a living. So she told them I laundered money, and they went, oh, that's interesting. but Mom passed on. What's that?
Yeah, well, I'm laughing because, he's from New York and Brooklyn. Oh, he's money. He launders money.
She passed on not really knowing what her baby boy did for a living. I'm the youngest of three, and after Dad passed for 15 years, I told him when he was ready to go, I said, you had Mom for the last 50 years. I got her from here. So I called her every day for 15 years, at least once a day, and she still didn't know what the heck her son did for a living. But then again, it's really hard to explain. Anyway, how do you explain that you're a consultant who really earns his way as an insultant so he could be a resultant? I mean, I got to tell it like it is. I mean, my book, Illuminate, Harnessing the Positive Power of Negative Thinking. I'm all about getting real and facing the issues.
I thoroughly enjoyed this interview so much. I just wanted to extend it if that's okay with you. Give us another 8 minutes or so. That book that you talked about a couple of times, Illuminating, when you talk about how to focus on something to actually, can you just give us a little bit about that? I just love your explanation of it, and people should really go out and get it. I think isn't that the book that's a whopping 99 cents or something?
Well, that particular book, published by Wiley, is on Amazon, and it's not 99 cents. My latest book, they're bringing up, it looks like it's going to make the Wall Street Journal list. That book is, the Kindle book for the next week or so is 99 cents. That's called Preventing BrandSlaughter. But let me tell you about Illuminate briefly and show you how BrandSlaughter even fits in there. You mentioned stickability and 3 feet from gold and Think and Grow Rich, and I'm pleased and honored to be in the latest Think and Grow Rich book. And I've read most of the positive mental attitude literature, but nowhere in it, Ron, does it say we should ignore negative issues. But a lot of people interpret it that way. They figure, like the song goes, I'm going to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. And I go, I don't think we should eliminate the negative. I think we should illuminate the negative. And don't cut it out. Don't put it under the carpet, but actually put it in the daylight and take a look at what these issues and challenges are. And, I remember years ago listening to a philosopher named James Baldwin who said, in essence, we can't solve everything we face, but we can't solve anything unless we face it. And in the book I teach you, face it, follow it, and fix it. So that's the essence of that book called Illuminate. And we've used that with Fortune 10 companies, large companies, entrepreneurial companies, solopreneurs. And it works. The question is, to your listeners, what is it in your business or your life that you're simply not facing? That if you face it and then follow it, what's causing it, what's going to happen if you go out into the future with it, follow it in the past, follow it in the future, and then get to fix in it, which is to minimize or cut that energy. Wow, there's so many amazing things you can do. So that's the Illuminate model, and gosh, we've gotten some results with it.
Yeah, I mean, I know personally in my life, I not from this particular book because it was a long time ago, thankfully, I got some of that, and it was basically, in order to be aware, in order to fix any problem, any causal factor that is affecting your life and dysfunction or anything, you first need to become aware of it, you need to admit it, and then you need to fix it. And so I really, I personally have benefited from that type of ideology, and I know many other people who have. So when I heard you speak about it from the stage a few times, it really resonated with me, and I know it to be true. Can you tell people a little more about how they could get that book or one or two benefits?
Yeah, they can go to davidcorbin.com, which is my website. and they can see all the different books that I've written. And the most recent one, which is actually available on Amazon and Kindle for 99 cents, that's the one where, like I was talking yesterday with my good friend Frank Shank, which is, you're either building your brand or you're killing your brand, and nothing is neutral. You're either in what we call brand integrity or you're committing brand slaughter in the first, second, or third degree. Somebody commits manslaughter. No, Frank knows that. He was a detective. And so if somebody commits manslaughter, they get caught, they're going to get busted, they're going to have some repercussions. But a lot of businesses don't realize that they're committing brand slaughter. They're not handling their brand effectively, and frankly, they should be committed to brand slaughter. And this book is a wonderful story about that. It's about an hour and a half read. I've actually had people tell me that they cried because it's a really cool story about within a hospital, a security guard who really, really lives the brand and the values, and then this highfalutin cardiac surgeon who he thinks it's only about surgery and doesn't really care about, loving service and living the brand and values of it. And it's just a neat story, and I'm just so excited at the reception. It hit number one for 2 weeks in a row, I think, which is pretty crazy.
Nice, excellent, and that's huge. Now, do you have any upcoming? We're down to like 2 minutes, and it's a hard break end of the show coming up. Do you have any events coming up, or something that you'd like the visitors to take away, the listeners here?
I would want the listeners to, if they're entrepreneurs or if they is this: don't come see me anywhere. Just look at yourself and ask yourself, what in your business are you not facing? And if you don't know it, your partners or relationships will share that with you. And get seriously to work to follow it and fix it. I love when people contact me after they read my books. I come in and I do keynotes in their companies, and I love that. I love to mentor, but I would just ask everyone to focus inwards, whether it's meditation or otherwise, and just take a couple of minutes a day and ask yourself, what is it that I'm not facing that if I did would launch me like a rubber band, just push me and propel me towards my highest goals, my highest dreams, and my highest aspirations. That's what I would suggest. Check me out on Facebook or any of the other things. I love hearing from wonderful, serious entrepreneurs and business people.
Excellent. And preventing brand slaughter is, once they learn some of the things that they're currently doing that's causing brand slaughter, obviously preventing it from happening or stopping it from getting worse is certainly, something that they would like to do.
Right on, Ron. Let me just say this in the book.
You've been listening to Ron Couming on the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show. Thank you.